honored and very, very lucky to take a lot of sustenance from Didi when I started my dedicated life. And many of us students, we all are students in the Brahma Kumaris, and all of us listen to the daily spiritual study through Didi. And a lot of her classes have been inspiring all of us. So we are very, very lucky to have Didi with us. She has spent so many years in Mount Abu also, and very, very close to all of our seniors, our daddies. And so we will be able to listen to some of those special stories which she has. Didi, as you have been so close to daddies and you have seen the growth of this organization at the leadership level, especially. Most of our seniors whom we see are actually examples of the virtues, the values which are being taught as spiritual study here. How did they imbibe this in their life in such a beautiful way, like values of self care, the constant study which they have, always being a student, the discipline, the learning attitude? What have you found has been the secrets behind these values being imbibed by our seniors?
Om Shanti, greetings of peace and happy Sharad Purnima today. It's a wonderful question that Deepa Didi has asked about the secrets behind our values that was practiced by the dadis. In fact, it's now 50 years that I've been associated with Brahma Kumaris, and I've seen all the dadis and they're a young age as well. Soon after Brahma Baba left the mortal body and became an angel, after that, Dadi Prakashmani took over the institution. And during that time, there were about 120 centers only throughout Bharat, throughout India. And I've seen the leadership quality that Dadi Prakashmani had in her. The first and basic thing about this organization is that, as Sister was mentioning, it is not just an organization, it is a Yagya also, where a sacrificial fire is performed every day. And in this sacrificial fire, it is not any physical sacrificial fire, but every day we have a discourse, and these are the versions or the teachings that were given through Brahma Baba by the Supreme in reforming the spiritual values and bringing them in our lives. And so every day, just as in any organization, there is an HR department. And the HR department organizes training programs for people from time to time. But that is like once in a month or maybe twice in a month. Whenever you get some special faculties, some motivational speakers maybe. But here, the basis of motivation in each and every one of us was the spiritual teachings, which are on regular basis. And that is why it is known as Ishwarya Vishwavidyalaya. Just as in a school or a college or a university, every day a student is in that learning attitude, in that learning mode, and he knows and understands that I have to learn whatever I am being taught. I have to bring that in my practice. Well, in today's world, it has changed. The attitude has changed, even in school, colleges, or universities. But here, because it is an Ishwarya Vishwavidyalaya, and whoever joins this organization does not have any monetary um, achievement in his mind as an aim. But the aim in everybody's mind is to be a better person. And that is why they have seen the behavior of the dadis and have joined this organization. No commercial, no physical or monetary achievements. They do not come with that aim. But they come with that aim, I want to be a better person. And so, regular study of the spiritual knowledge, the spiritual wisdom, that is most important, which is lacking in the outside world. Very beautifully, somebody has said, we have lost wisdom in knowledge, worldly knowledge, and we have lost knowledge in information. In today's schools, universities, abundance of information is given to the students, and the person who possesses maximum information, they are given honor. They get into positions also. But we in this organization has turned from information to knowledge and from knowledge to wisdom, the roots. Our roots, especially in India, is in the spiritual wisdom. But some hundreds years ago, we were cut off from our roots. And when we were cut out from the roots, naturally, what we see, the situation in today's world is happening. Going back to the roots, that regular study of spiritual wisdom and making sure that we implement. And how we do that? Initially, from Brahma Baba's time, every day night class, it was a small family, so every day night class was on our daily routine, what happened during the day. What happened during, and everybody used to discuss in that night class what happened during the day, any mistakes was committed, and realizing it, reforming the self that this mistake should not happen again. It reminds me that Mateshwari, the first administrative head of this organization, every day night class she used to conduct. And in that, she gave the definition of purusharth, that is effort or endeavors. The definition was, whatever mistake I have made today should not be repeated again. Then it is said, you have made your spiritual endeavor. You have made your spiritual effort in growing towards a better person. So that was the definition that was given to us. And therefore, we find that everybody had brought that change within themselves, in their value system, in their original culture, that is the spiritual culture, on the basis of this. This class still goes till today, the night class. And mostly everyone is given a chart for the day. How did you spend the daily routine? Whether we woke up early in the morning from 3:30 or not, yes, no. Meditation, what was the quality of meditation? Were we sleepy during the meditation time, or we definitely had some positive affirmations for the self? And then in the morning Murli class, the spiritual discourse, how we have taken any one or two basic teachings and applied in our life, in our behavior with others. So this constant check was done by the self. Nobody would see what I have written. But naturally, if for continuous some days I'm doing something which is not appropriate, my conscience is going to bite me. So this was the style of improvement, realization. Nobody would tell you, you are doing wrong, you are doing this, you are doing, but that chart makes us realize that for continuously 1 week or 2 weeks, I'm not doing what I have to do, then the conscious would bite, and that would give me the realization to bring about a change. So the night class and the morning class was most important. And this is how dadis, the senior dadis, in them, Baba had instilled so much of love and law. So the balance between love and disciplines was there. They practiced. So when they practiced, others who would see them would also feel, if our seniors are doing this, why should we not? We have come with this aim in this organization. So this is how there was a change. One thing what the sister said in the beginning, that every day in the sacrificial fire we put something, we sacrifice something, our weaknesses. Well, I would just bring a little bit change to what she said. That supposing there is darkness in this room, and if somebody comes and says, remove the darkness, darkness cannot be removed. And if somebody tries also, he would be exhausted, burnt out of energy, and ultimately be disheartened because he's not able to do it. So the effort is not to remove the darkness. The effort is to light the lamp. Effort is always to light the lamp. And to light the lamp is easy, which will remove the darkness automatically. No efforts. Light the lamp. That is only efforts that we are making here. Inculcate the spiritual values. Don't think about this is my weakness, this is my weakness, this I have to remove. We'll be stressed when we think about our shortcomings. We'll be stressed under pressure. No pressure is given here. Light the lamp. That's the only spiritual endeavor that we have to make. And the light would be there. That was the practice that Dadis adopted.
Thank you, Didi. And I think as you suggested, the seniors and everyone has invested so much of time for their self-care, for personal transformation, and that has become the foundation. Didi, when we are talking about leadership, and you mentioned Dadi Prakashwani ji, who actually led the organization after the founder. And so, if you can share some story about her, because you have been very close with her, how did she instill this deep commitment for seva, for meditation, for personal self-care amongst all the Madhuban Nivasis, but everywhere in the world?
As our sister mentioned, that this is not just an organization or a sacrificial, but a family also. And I've seen this initially when I came to Madhuban as a family only. I felt it as a family. And being in the family, the seniors of this family, whenever anything has to be implemented or introduced, whatever thought Dadi would have in her mind, she would not like forcefully say, now everybody has to do this. No. First, she would call a meeting of the seniors and she would discuss that idea. This is the thought that I have. What would you think? If you have anything to add on it. because this has to be implemented. But if you have any thought that can be added on it, or more easy way to implement, bring it into implementation. So the seniors, they would discuss it, or whatever pros and cons they would discuss. And after that, we would have the family meeting where each and everyone who is in this organization dedicatedly, in Madhuban especially here in the headquarters, during that time we were about 300, 400. So evening time she would call a family meeting, share some of the news here and there, whatever is happening. And after that, seeing the scenario, she would say, this is the thought that I had. And we have discussed that in the seniors, amongst the seniors. But at the lower level, I would like to get your suggestions. How much it would be practical for all of you to follow this. So, this was her humility, that she would even consider the lowest of the lowest and ask everyone as a family how much practical it is. And then, when it is discussed there, then she would write it to all the centers. She would send a notice, maybe, or a letter to all the centers that this is what we have agreed on in Madhuban and we are implementing it here. And so it would be better for no force, no authority using. There also, very lovingly, she would write the letter to all the centers that this is what we have agreed to. And if we all get into one united force, I think we would all be able to see the results of this. And this is how, when all the centers would also agree to it, because those letters were not just read by the senior or those center in charges, but they would read that letter in the class. All those brothers and sisters who are coming for the morning spiritual discourse. And they would also understand that whatever is happening in Mount Abu, the headquarters, everybody is going to follow this. So when it is accepted unanimously at that level also, then it becomes like a force. And that values as if it was cultivated to that level also. And this is how this organization or this family started growing. Because all that, and Dadi, I have seen Dadi at that level that she was so humble, so humble. She never ever used her authority. I'm the head of this organization and you have to follow whatever I say. This is what I had this thought in my mind. No, never ever. Even when she would put it in front of us in the family, she would always say, Dadi had this thought. Means she would separate her identity from the chief administrative head of the organization. Dadi had this thought. So when she would be that humble that I will also follow this. I will also follow. And when she would also follow, everybody joined. It reminds me of the building of Om Shanti Bhavan. I don't know whether you have been to Mount Abu or not, at the headquarters, which was very small, and where Om Shanti Bhavan, the grand building, stands on the mountain. And when that was built, there was a small mountain, a small hill type, but completely stone. And so during that time, we got the permission to level the thing so that we can build that hall, the auditorium there for sitting capacity of 3,000 people. So to level that, naturally, there was some blast being done. And then after the blast was over, everybody would get the laborers were very few here at that time. So Dadi in the morning Murli discourse, only spiritual discourse, she would announce that today after breakfast everybody would gather there, pick up all the stones so that the leveling can be done very fast. Even she would stand there. She would also pick up the stones. That was not her age. And she was the chief administrative head. Everybody would say, Dadi, we would do it. She would say, no, I am also part of you. She would also do it. And that was the thing that I have seen with my own eyes, how she would be standing there, lifting the stones, whatever she could. The small, big ones, the brothers would handle, but the small stones, because it had to be cleared. So she would also stand there. She would be with us. And this is what I've seen in the 80s when the organization was also not so big. But then also, she never ever used that authority. That was her humility that I have seen.
Thank you, Didi, for these stories because it's so important for the leader to be humble and to win people's hearts, and that's how the commitment comes. Didi, as you said, that this organization has grown from 300 to countries more than 110.
Yeah.
And in this growth, what have been the virtues or qualities, strengths of the organization which has helped it to grow and move into so many countries? And some challenges also have come.
Definitely, there were many challenges, I would say. And we had seen that during those challenges also how Dadi would tell that the only way to handle this challenge is meditation. And therefore, we used to have a continuous meditation program for 108 hours or maybe more. And that was like some people would do meditation from 4 to 6, and then from 6 to 8, another batch, 8 to 10, another batch. So for 2 hours or 1 hour, everybody, whichever time is suitable for them, they would write down. But it would be like in a continuous process. So when meditation means positive affirmations only in meditation for the success of any big program. And so we had seen how success was achieved. I'll just give you an example. We had organized a program in Delhi, and that program was in the Ram Leela Maidan, which is one of the biggest. And it was during Navratra time only, means before the Navratri. And our people were there building the stalls because a huge mela type was being organized where hundreds and thousands of people would come every day, and the stalls were to be set up, and the opening model was ready, and the murti of Durga was to be put there. So just before one day, there was a notice from the government of India that some Russian officials were coming, and so they have decided that their program, the government official program, would be in Ramlila Maidan only. So you have to empty this place. Now everything is ready. The opening model was also installed. Durga Murti was also put there. And now we have received this from the office of the Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi ji. So nobody can say no. So our Dadi was there and she said, the only solution for this is meditation. Everybody has to meditate for 108 hours or something like that. I don't exactly remember. But it was like a continuous program for uh, many hours. And even Dadi would sit during the night time also. She used to come and sit from 2 o'clock in the early morning to 4 o'clock. And everybody started meditation with this positive affirmation that somehow this program would be shifted to another venue. Somehow the government official program would be shifted to another venue. And this work, which has been done mostly, 75% was ready. So it is very hard to again shift the whole thing to some other place. And all the advertisement that was done everywhere, big hoardings were put. So it was very difficult to again bring those hoardings down, put another one, and get something sanctioned. So it was the only answer was meditation, positive affirmation, spread those waves of positivity. And their program should also be successful, not that our program should be successful and their program should not be successful. We should have this good wish or good feelings that their program should also be successful in another venue. And you won't believe, after the meditation, during the meditation time only, the next day the message comes, okay, you can continue with the place wherever you have put up everything, and we will shift our venue. So we have seen every time, whenever such challenges would come, whenever such obstacles would come, there are many crises that we went through, but every time it was found that meditation was the only answer, and everybody would start meditation, and we would get the result of it.
Thank you, Didi. Didi, when we look after the practical management in the organization, especially even just managing this conference over here, this retreat over here, where we have more than 500 participants here, and as we have been informed that we are having such retreats simultaneously in different complexes. So somehow it looks like everything is moving auto mode because there's no micromanagement over here anywhere, no day-to-day instructions being given. So how is this led? And so much of trust on the people because the complexes are so far away and simultaneously everything is happening.
I would say that it is because since the beginning that sanskars were instilled, those habits were instilled in all the brothers and sisters who are in the headquarters also or in the centers also. And when it is instilled in them, and Dadi put so much of trust in each and every department heads, and she gave them, she taught them how to economize also, not to spend anything very lavishly or anything, but to economize also. And at the same time, she would listen to what they are doing every time. So the department heads also would sometimes have a meeting with Dadiji, especially once in a year. And whatever they wanted for their department, so that it can function smoothly during the various programs throughout the year. Dadi would check what they had. She would visit that department also, see what they had in their store or whatever. And then she would sanction, okay, this is essential. So this is how each and every department head was entrusted whatever they wanted, or that trust was built in them also, that this yagya is not of the dadis or a baba, but it is my yagya. This feeling or this belongingness was instilled in each and every one who is a permanent resident. Because, nobody is paid here. We are not paid people. But at the same time, to bring that dedication in them, and at the same time, to um, give them all the freedom also to function. They were not restricted. Nobody was restricted. Oh, you can't do this. You only have to manage in this much. No. Dadi would listen to their demands, whatever they wanted for the year, how it is going on, what they have, and how much they need. And accordingly, Dadi would sanction them whatever they wanted. Or Dadi would tell the accounts department, well, I think they need this much, you'll have to sanction this. So accordingly, everybody used to get what they wanted. In fact, I would say, just as I said, we are a family. In any organization also, in any company also, you would say this is our family. But that feeling of family is not there because everybody gets paid for whatever they are doing. Here, nobody is paid, and so the family feeling is there. And so, each one of us gets whatever is needed accordingly. Like, supposing for myself, because we are sustained from this yagya. Our clothes, whatever we want, personal things also, because we are not paid, naturally, it's the responsibility of the organization to sustain us also. So, according to the services, whichever department we are in, whichever services we are doing, accordingly, Dadi would give us whatever is essential for us. Whatever is essential. And accordingly, she would see that it is used in a worthwhile way also. So we get everything from the yagya. Each and every one who is a dedicated member of this organization is sustained from the yagya itself, and we get everything. And she has put that trust that everybody is speaking. Like for clothes, we get clothes once in a year. Every monsoon time when rain is going on, so free, most of the programs are not going on at that time. So during that time, we get the clothes. Now, in that, we get a form. And in that form, we have to write how much pairs we have already, how much pairs we still need, and anything else besides clothing or anything, whatever I need, I have to write in that block. So this form is given to all of us. Everybody writes, we have 6 pairs or 8 pairs or 10 pairs. I need some more pairs. And accordingly, then whatever extra is needed, that also we have to write. Supposing I need a table fan because the fan in the room, because we share a room, 3, 4 we used to share. Nowadays, 2 in a room. But supposing if the fan is due, I need a table fan also. I need this also. Then Dadi would say, okay. So she would give that also. This is how we are all sustained. And sometimes I feel whatever people are paid outside, we are paid more than we deserve also. So that trust in each one of us that they are doing it appropriately, and we have an easy access to go and directly speak to Dadi. That was the best part. It is not that we have to go to the department head and then he would go to someone else who's senior, and then that thing reaches Dadi. That takes a lot. I myself can easily have that access. I can see Dadi, Dadi, I just want to have a talk with you, a word with you. And she would say, yes, anytime. Just come in. So this is how it was managed.
Thank you, Didi, for these practical experiences. Didi, when a large, because the organization has grown now, and so we have a large group of dedicated brothers and sisters in Madhuban, in centers, and everyone coming from different states, cultures, educational backgrounds. And yet we see that whether it's the seniors, whether it's the other, young dedicated brothers and sisters, there's a lot of team spirit here, and people are able to, see that everyone is sharing responsibilities with a lot of love. Surely there must be conflicts because sanskars are still different, and each one of us is in a journey, as you said, purusharthi. But yet we find that everyone works with each other hand in hand, and everything goes on very seamlessly. What is the secrets of these relationships which are, so well managed here?
Well, I would say that Dadi used to tell us, especially in the family meetings, look, whatever conflict you have, during any program, forget everything. Work as a team, and afterwards, resolve your conflicts. You come to me. I'd give an example that once we had a program, and we have a fruit department. So, the fruit department, there were mangoes. So, the fruit department sister was asked to give mangoes to feed the guests who had come for the program. So she counted how many guests are there. Accordingly, she gave the mangoes. And the brother who was feeding in the dining took the mangoes and cut into pieces and served. Now it happens so that you never know, sometimes mangoes inside are rotten also. So those mangoes, about 5 to 6 mangoes were rotten. So he was not able to share it amongst everyone. So he again ran back to the fruit department and he asked for more mangoes. So the sister there, she said, well, that was the only mangoes I had. But the brother thought that she was hiding something. So they had some conflict there. So then he just went without the mangoes and shared those mangoes which he had. Supposing two, instead of giving the whole mango, he gave three pieces of cutting the mango sliced and three pieces in everybody's plate. People did not realize, they did not know what happened behind the screen. Now the whole thing came up to Didi. At that time, Didi Manmohini was looking after the inside administration. Dadi Prakashmani used to look outside administration. Didi was looking inside administration. So the whole thing came up to Didi. That so the brother said, she didn't give me mangoes, and it was like uh, people were waiting for the mangoes, and I had not enough mangoes because they were rotten. And the sister said, well, that was the only thing I had. No, she's lying. She had some mangoes inside, but she was not giving us. So this went on. So Didi said, okay, both of you sit here. Whatever you have to say amongst whatever. And she sat there as a detached observer, listening to what they were saying. And then she called me, come here. Now, from today, you take from her, give to him, and whatever he wants or whatever is excess remaining, that also you have to come and give it back to him. I was so young at that time. I was so young. I did not know how to be in between those two big ones. But anyway, I was given that duty. And then she said, look, these small things happen. Firstly, she made me comfortable. Things happen in a family. But anyway, we have to become the bridge. And being a bridge, so that they also trust you. Here also there is a trust, and then you can manage between them. So then there is no misunderstanding that is created. So I've seen how dadis, they would never listen to only one person. This was the greatest secret in management. Whoever would come up and just backbite anything, they would not listen. They would say, "You have the courage to speak this in front of her? Do you have this courage? If yes, okay, I'll call that person also." And then, whatever they had to be said, initially there was a conflict, definitely. But then they would resolve the conflict on the basis of the spiritual understanding. What does spirituality tells us? One has to bow down. Now, who is going to bow down first? Who's going to let go of their ego? Who's going to be humble? So, listening to both sides, not just one side, clearing off the misunderstanding which is amongst them, and then giving them the insight, the spiritual insight. What does spirituality tells us? And then creating that harmonious relationship amongst them, making them sit together, have food together with Dadi sitting there only. At lunchtime, she would call both of them, share some nice stories also, something, and clear off whatever that little thing is also there. Happens even at centers level, maybe two centers, there is some problem between two centers. She will call both the centers, sit them both with both of them, clarify what it is happening. She would never listen to one. And this is what happens till today. That is why it is in an auto mode, because this sanskars are instilled so deeply that even if any problem comes up today also, then the management committee, which is of 10 people, they get the whole thing. Both the people are called together and then it is discussed, the misunderstanding is resolved, and everything goes on smoothly again.
Thank you, Didi. And I think my personal experience also in the centers has been that sometimes it happens and we have a conflict amongst each other. Maybe one of us has even reacted in some way. And the next day, spiritual study, the Supreme tells us that you cannot get angry. You have not to speak words which are like stones. And then immediately, maybe we are reading it sometimes, as an instrument. And we remember, oh, today this murli is for me. He's pointing out
And
to
it
me.
happens so that whatever has happened the previous day, the next day in the spiritual discourse, that thing only would come and everybody would get that realizing this is for me only.
So, very lovingly, the Supreme keeps pulling our ears also and reminds us and helps us to change also. Didi, as you were talking about this management committee, so we find that as a lot of administration and all activities are happening, different projects, different centers, retreat centers are being made, and every time we see something new is being added in Madhuban. So sometimes when we come, especially as a participant, we find that we have a question, how is the finance being managed? Because as such, Brahma Kumaris cannot charge for any of its programs. In the center also, here also registration fees cannot be taken. So nothing can be asked as donation. So then how does this finance run?
A very nice question. And it is seen that Baba's principle was from whichever direction the wealth would come in this Yagya, it would change the mode of the organization and would take the organization in that direction. So we have a contribution box, but only those who are regular BKs, who go to the regular centers to listen to the every day, they are only and eligible to put the contribution in that box. Why? Because out of pure feelings, pure intentions, whatever is contributed, accordingly, whoever would use that money would have that peace of mind, maybe I would say, or would not take this whole organization into a different direction. So that was the belief of Brahma Baba. And so he had this slogan, Mangne se marna bhala. Instead of asking from anyone, it is better to die. Because being the children of the Supreme, definitely he is responsible. So anyone who contributes with a pure intention, who has changed their lives and have this feeling that just as my life has changed, others' life should also change, accordingly, they would contribute. But whatever they contribute with this hand, even this hand would not know. That is the principle here. For any big projects, like when we were in Pandav Bhavan, that small original place where the administration and Brahma Babas used to stay. After that, this Shantivan was to be developed. During that time, naturally, Dadi sent a notice to all the centers that from the regular contribution box, they put up another contribution box with the aim that this is for this Shantivan project, the huge complex that you see in 100 acres of land. So when this huge complex is to be, naturally, the money has to be in a big amount, but not asking anyone. So she made this that everybody, each and every person who comes to the center who has changed their lives, every day 1 rupee, every day 1 rupee for 1 year, they contribute for this big project. During that time, we had about 6 lakhs of people in the various centers around the world. Even a poorest man, a laborer, can also contribute 1 rupee. What is 1 rupee? But per day, when 6 lakh brothers and sisters contribute at least 1 rupee for 1 year, how much would it accumulate? So this is how it was done. It reminds me when Om Shanti Bhavan was built, that was also a big project for the Yagya in the 80s. She said 25 paisa. 25 paisa, each one should contribute for 1 year.
Didi, at that time, I think I heard the story that someone even offered that we will take.
Yes, many offered. Many offered, we would build it, but Baba said no. It has to be the contribution of each and everyone should have this feeling, because it is always seen wherever the wealth goes of a person, the mind and body also goes. Tan, man, dhan. So where the dhan flows, the mind also flows and the body also flows there. So that is the spiritual understanding. So that is why when everyone would contribute 1 rupee for this huge project, and the brothers and sisters after that went on increasing to 10 lakhs. So just imagine, minimum 1 rupee. And nobody would know. So no name plates you would ever seen on any of the rooms also, because not one person has contributed. 10 lakhs people have contributed 1 rupee. And this project went on for 3 years, from 1 year to 3 years, 1 rupee, and the whole Shantivan is built 1 rupee, I would say. The financial thing is taken care of So the load is not any on few people or only on some, where every time we go on, they would also feel bad. How are the Brahma Kumaris coming every time and begging for this? No, we can't beg. This is not our principle. But contributions received by the regular BKs who have taken benefit of the spiritual knowledge, who have taken benefit of the meditation in their lives, who have transformed their lives, whatever pure intention they would contribute accordingly, it is used in a worthwhile way. And this is how we find that this whole Shantivan has come up, 3 years constantly, that was collected from all the centers around the world. 10 lakh brothers and sisters who are regular students of this organization have contributed. So even a laborer has this feeling, I have also donated for this. Each one has this feeling, this is my yagya. Mine is that feeling. So that is why when this feeling is there, you can see how everything is growing up in the.
Didi, as you said that all the dedicated brothers and sisters here don't receive any money. They're not paid. There are no holidays. We were earlier, Shivani Ben also mentioned there's no promotion. There are no perks. There are no allowances. And what keeps them so motivated? Everyone we see is self-motivated. And Didi, your personal experience also, what keeps you so motivated?
That belongingness. This is my home, one, like a pillar of this institution. This feeling that was instilled in us since so many years, since the beginning. So, this feeling of belongingness makes us, whatever everyone is doing, they're doing with this feeling, this is mine, my task. I have to do it in the perfect way. I have to see that everything is done in a perfect way. So when this feeling is there, then you don't need any supervisors to check upon you that whether you are doing it right or not. Whether if anybody has any problems, they can discuss with their seniors also. This is some problem that we are facing, whatever can be done. So then they help, they cooperate, and then it starts again. So, and if there is any conflict, we will resolve this conflict after the program. First, we have to see that the program is conducted in the most beautiful way, in the perfect way. So, this is from the beginning only, from the beginning of this organization when it started.
Didi, each one of our dadis, the seniors, had wonderful virtues of simplicity, love, and each one of them was very special. So please, can you share some of your personal experiences with them? You have had the opportunity to be with all the dadis. So Dadi Prakashmani, Dadi Gulzar, Dadi Janki, some of those beautiful experiences.
Prakash Mani Dadi, I would say, because I've had this opportunity to stay a longer time with her. Then, and I would see that she had this beautiful nature. Everyone should progress. Everyone should progress. So, initially, as sister had said, all those dedicated brothers and sisters, maybe not possessing those professionally degrees which are required for that department. They may not be professionals, but they have developed that professionalism so beautifully, and they are able to manage that department with that professional skill. They have learned it by staying here only. Similarly, when I came here, this SML training was going on. I had no intention in doing or going into this field of management. So I knew that there was a training that is going to start in Mansarovar, and many people have registered also for the training. One day, evening, I was just sitting outside and Dadi just happened to pass by. Seeing me, she called me, "Come here. Have you registered for this training?" I said, "No." "Why not?" "You should register for this training." I said, "Dadi, but the registrations have closed now." So she said, "How can it be closed?" Call. Call that registration person who is uh, looking after the training. Call. She immediately called, said, "Look, from Madhuban, Usha would be sitting for this training." The message, but the training registration is over and we do not have enough file. Doesn't matter if she doesn't get a file also. Or print a extra file. But you have to give her also. Okay. For Dadi's pleasure, also I thought, okay, let me go for the training. Dadi was happy and Dadi, after going there, I was just sitting there, no intention of grasping or taking in. I had no aim of getting into this field. After I came from the training in the evening, Dadi called me, "Come here. What did you learn?" And then I thought, now I have to be serious on this. She's going to ask me every day what I've learned. So then, whatever examples or stories I remembered, I just managed to tell that. The next day, I started taking notes. Every day, she would call me. "So, what did you learn today? You have to share with me." Means, Dadi, not till there only. After that, it happened so that after the training was over, then one day she has a thought, "Why don't you conduct this training for all Madhuban Nivasis? It's a nice thing. Why don't you do it for everyone?" So in the night class, everybody, she announced in the morning class, "Usha is going to conduct this training for all of you," and everybody would come to know what happened in the training. Oh my God, I said, I have nothing. The whole night I sat down, wrote notes. Next day I have to conduct. And everybody came with their diary pen and was sitting in, all seniors also. And after that, when she came out in the, "Where are everybody? Nobody is to be seen in the evening today." So they said, "Everybody is sitting there in the training." Dadi said, "This is very good." Everybody would sit there. So then when I came down, she said, "Why don't you continue this training for a month?" I said, "But I don't have that much input." "No, no, you continue whatever it is, you go on continuing. Not only till there." Then in one of the groups, just like we have this IT group, one of the groups, the vice president of Godrej comes. So he was brought to meet Dadiji. So Dadiji was told that he is the vice president of Godrej. So then Dadi said, "You know what? We have a sister here. She, she gives management trainings." So the vice president, "Okay, you give management trainings also?" So Dadi said, "Go and call Usha. Go and call her." I come, she is the one who conducts trainings. Now I will send her to Godrej for 3 days and she'll conduct the training. I said, "Dadi, but I don't have any, during those days we used to have OHPs. I said, I have no slides, nothing." And she is not listening. "You can do it on the board. You do it on the board." "No, you do on the board." And then the fourth day, I will come there. and ask everyone the feedback of what happened. It was like such embarrassing. But whole night I had to make the slides. I had to sit down for 3 days training program to all the Godrej people. And then the fourth day she arrives and everybody has gathered and she takes the feedback. How did you all find? After that, whoever would come from any company, she would say, we have a sister here. You means she never ever wanted that wisdom to be just kept with any one person. No, it has to flow. It has to flow. That knowledge has to be shared with everyone. And this is how, again and again, when I went into that whole thing and did the training, as if she made me master the whole thing to such an extent that with my name, my surname became
Yeah, Usha Didi has been recognized as SML Usha
SML
Didi.
Usha Didi. Which Usha? Which Usha? SML Usha. Surname became SML, you know. And she made me like progress in my spiritual field also to that extent. And I was able to use the wisdom, spiritual wisdom in that management gradually. Then, as you know, it opens our minds also in such a way. So she used to see that everyone should progress, not only me. And nobody should like come to me only for anything. She would make anyone a professional in that particular field. That is what I have seen in her.
Thank you, Didi, for your personal experiences. Didi, if you see the organization, when we come here and learn about it, we understand the role of Brahma Baba. And till now, I mean, the organization has only been mentioned as the Brahma Kumaris. So it's mostly dadis, the sisters, everyone in the forefront. How has Brahma Baba played this beautiful role of being the seed, of being the founder, being the medium for the Supreme, and yet merged himself in such a beautiful way?
Brahma Baba had this belief that when the sisters, because the organization began in Pakistan, and during that time, it was like the Parda system, you know. Everybody was, the females especially were in the veils. They were hidden in the veils. So, Baba had this feeling that when the mothers would rise, because he had seen that in any family, just as it is said in the present time also, you educate a person and he will be only educated. But if you educate a mother, the whole family will be educated. The same philosophy, Brahma Baba had this in his mind, that if the spiritual wisdom is instilled in the mothers, then it will go down in the family also. And with this aim, Baba used to say that the mothers have to become the first gurus for the children of the family. So they have to come out from the Parda system. They have to come out and they have to understand, because during those times, the mothers or the sisters were not allowed to read the scriptures also. It was only the sannyasis or the brothers or the male dominating society which was seen, that, and that was like going downwards. So that was the time when Baba wanted to uplift the mothers so that the whole world can be uplifted. So with this aim, Baba himself dedicated, first of all, when he got this deep realization, and when Shiv Baba made him an instrument, he first of all dedicated him. He made a trust of his own wealth, and that trust of his own wealth, he dedicated himself, and he made the trust about 8 sisters 8 sisters, 8 dadis during that time, 8 dadis as the trustees of the trust. And he himself also dedicated and made them, now you have to stand forward. You have to become the ones to share this knowledge with everyone. So he went back. He even said this to the brothers, all the brothers in the organization. You have to be the backbones, because you know what the law is in the society, what, so that the mothers, they don't know what the law is going on in the world. So you have to remain as backbones, but the mothers have to come in the front. When they start giving this knowledge, share this knowledge amongst all the people in the society, then only the upliftment can take place. So, this was the belief of Brahma Baba, and that is why when he himself stepped back and made the brothers also step back, be backbones. You have to remain as backbones and let the mothers do this. So, this is how the organization then went on. And till today, also, it is seen in that way. Even in our management committee, now we have 50-50, like 5 sisters and 5 brothers who are in the management committee looking after the management system of this whole organization. But during that time, Baba himself was like incognito, and he made the sisters um, in front of the world.
Thank you, Didi. Didi, as you said, this is also an organization, Yagya, but it's also an education institution. You said it's a spiritual university. So we hear that the aim object of this university is that transformation from human consciousness to divine consciousness. And we can see this picture of Lakshmi Narayan. And many times people ask us also, because we have a badge which exhibits this picture. How can this be symbolic as the aim object of the organization or every individual? Because the organization is spread over the world, where people from different faiths and countries and backgrounds and religions are students of the Brahma Kumaris. At present, also in Gyan Saror, there's a retreat from guests from Middle East have been coming and they are learning this. So, how does this image of Lakshminarayan become symbolic as the aim object?
Initially, when Brahma Baba started, it was in the scriptures that नर ऐसी करनी करे जो नर नारायण बने, नारी ऐसी करनी करे जो श्री लक्ष्मी बने. That was the statement that was given in the scriptures. So according to that, that from ordinary human being you have to transform into divine beings like Lakshmi and Narayan. But gradually, when people from other faiths also started joining, then a slight change in that divine, we added one thing more, and that is from ordinary human beings, we have to become angels. So that is the aim and object of each and every one. And so you might see some pictures, especially in the foreign lands, people where people are from different faiths. Rather than Lakshmi Narayan image, we have angelic images everywhere. So we have to transform from ordinary human beings into angelic human beings.
So Lakshminarayan just is symbolic for the virtues, the
Yes.
divinity of the soul. And Didi, we have this group who's basically from the IT, and we have so many professionals coming. They like the retreat. We inspire them to go back and then go back to the centers. But it's more convenient for people today, especially to be, listening to some of the spiritual lectures online. Maybe they can listen to it in videos or YouTube.
Yes.
Is it important for them to go to the center? What is the role of a center to give them sustenance? And what has been your experience of individuals who have started their spiritual journey going to a center? What has been the impact? And those who have been, somewhere in contact but have not been able to create that time to go regularly?
I think everyone has this experience during COVID time when the studies of your children was also online. They didn't go to schools. What was their result and what was their growth in their studies? You all have the experience that parents were complaining, our children are not studying. Although they have online studies, they sit there, but their mind is wandering. When a child goes to school, he's in an environment, he's in that atmosphere where everyone is coming with that aim. He has that company of other students. He has those instruments which help him to learn. He has those teachers who can guide them. So the learning is faster. At home, when they do the same online studies, no company, no atmosphere. Home atmosphere is home atmosphere. So during COVID time, we have seen the children did not study as they would study in the school. The same thing here. When this is a university, the more frequent you get in contact with the centers where automatically vibrations are created. If you just go into that atmosphere also, in that environment also, you get yourself charged with the vibrations. Online, you do not get those vibrations. You can get the knowledge, you can get the information, but you can't get the vibrations. And everyone needs the vibration which will give them a boost to move forward. Without that energy, it is impossible. Knowledge we can read from books also. Knowledge can be gained from, but the vibrations is most important because we are living in an age or we are living in a world where there is so much of negative energy that is surrounding us during the whole day. So for a few minutes also when we go to the center, as if that negative energy is cleaned off. It is like taking a shower and we are cleaning off that negative energy. Do some meditation, and then when we go back, as if we are charged with another energy. So, this is why we suggest that education or study can be done beautifully only when we go into that sort of environment.
Thank you very much, Didi, for your valuable time, your thoughts, your stories, your experiences. It was inspiring. And I'm sure each one of you have taken a lot of benefit. Thank you, Didi. We'll thank Didi through claps. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. How was the
It
session?
was nice session, I would say. Thank you.